Hello and welcome to my kitchen. We're going to be making a crock pot red curry. This time I'm going to do lamb curry. So a little bit different than what I've done in the past, but pretty much the same. Just I'm using lamb instead of chicken. So we'll show you what the ingredients I got real quick here. For one thing, you can see over here, we've got our veggies and meat on this side. I'm using lamb this time, which would be a little different. I've never done it before, but it can't go wrong, right? You need to try different things. So baby carrots, some squash, zucchini. I got some kale. I'm not going to be using all of that, but using some. Potatoes we'll be putting in. And we'll be adding those onions at the very end after I saute them. So as far as we got for spices here, you can see we've got some black beans, garbanzo beans or chickpeas, organic coconut milk, tomato paste, this Thai curry powder, which I'm pretty impressed with. I'm using chicken bone broth this time, but you can use different types. Turkey, there's also a mixed one that I really like to use. Some ginger, garlic, sea salt, some curry powder, and some black pepper. So pretty simple ingredients. Not a hard recipe, I think. Just seems like a lot of stuff, but it's more intimidating than it looks. Anyway, I'll be turning this crock pot on, getting everything all ready, and we'll start cooking. All right, I think it's time to get started. I've prepared all my ingredients and my crock pot, so it's all washed and happy to go. And I like to always start by turning it on low setting. If you have a programmable crock pot, which is going to be my next investment, it's probably a good idea because you can set this thing up before you go to work. It's an 8-hour cook time on this, so you can set this thing up before you go to work, and there you go. So here's my lamb steaks, lamb sirloin steaks. I know there's probably some different options out there that you can use for lamb, but I'm just using these two. I'm going to start with these. I'm going to set them right here on the bottom. Always putting my meat on the very bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the potatoes to the top of this. You know, so we're kind of getting all well, down to the meat and potatoes here. But, you know, all the big stuff in first. And then what I like to do is I like to add I kind of go by size on this. So then I like to add my carrots. You know, it reminds me of that little, proverb where they use the rocks and the sand and they fit them all into one jar to show, the priorities in your life. Well, I'm kind of like that with with my cooking. So now you can see everything kind of fitting nicely so far. Here's the squash and zucchini. If you notice, I cut these up into pretty big size pieces. And the reason for that is because if you make them small, what winds up happening is they just disintegrate in the crock pot. So you cut them big enough, and they get nice and soft and tender anyway, but they don't all just go away. So there's that. Let me see how, look in the film here. Okay, good. Okay, so that's all our veg right there. I mean, we pretty much got the bulk of that. So now I'm going to start adding the broth and stuff. And again, so my organic bone broth here, chicken, but you don't have to use chicken. You can use the turkey or, whatever suits your taste. It's kind of strange, chicken and lamb. I probably would have used a beef broth, but this was in my fridge. And so this is what I'm using. And I kind of pick up a different thing every time. And also, I've done this before where I didn't have the broth, so I cooked everything up. I added a little bit of water to it to get it started. And then I added the broth afterward. So now, mind you, I've already used some of this container, so I'm really only using about maybe half. And I still got a little bit left in here too, so it's not by any means empty. Now, I'm going to add the chickpeas and the black beans, and you can see I've already rinsed them. So I mixed them together, put them into this thing just for convenience. Rinsed them up, and now I'm going to put those in there. Yeah, I could have put these in before the broth, but it's not too big a deal, I don't think. So I started adding the other stuff on top, all the liquid stuff. The broths are going to fall at the bottom, but everything else I'm using, especially this coconut milk, this is kind of thick, at least, before it starts to cook down. So I'm going to add this, and you'll see it comes out looking like a white version of the can. And sometimes I even take a knife and just poke it in the back to free up the pressure. And it comes Just scoop. As you can see, it's pretty, half liquid, half, literally white milky coconut milk. So, and I like this too because like it's almost completely normal ingredients. The guar gum is the only thing that's, that's a little bit different in it as far as what's in it. So, but you have the coconut milk and water. So can't get much more normal than that. 3 ingredients in 1 can. Amazing. At least for something that's not just, supposed to be 1 ingredient, like beans. So we got that. Now this is my tool and measuring cup. So we'll see how well it works in a minute. I got my tomato paste. Of course, I get the organic tomato paste, non-GMO, the way I like it. And it's a small can. I pull this out. I like the tomato paste because it adds some consistency to it. And also I think it gives it some flavor because rather than just using like tomatoes, or I suppose you could use tomato puree or whatever, when you do a recipe, this recipe really is one I concocted from 2 other recipes I was looking at. I was looking at a curry and I was looking at a stew. And I mixed them together and voila, I came up with this. And, and I change it a little bit every time. And I think, you make sure you keep the things that work well. And when something doesn't work, you don't do it. I made a green curry this way too, using a similar method without the tomato paste. And it didn't come out so good. And so I'm a little hesitant on the green curry now. But I don't think it was the curry's fault. I think it was mine. But still, I'd rather wait and do it. Make sure I'm doing it right when I have plenty of extra food in the fridge in case it doesn't come out good. Okay, so I got that so far. Okay, so here it is. This is again the red curry paste that I use. I use it for 2 reasons. One, they sell it at the commissary here, and 2, looking at the ingredients, it's not too bad. Again, minimal ingredients: red chili pepper, garlic, lemongrass, Thai ginger, salt, chalet, spices, and kaffir lime. I don't see anything in there that I don't understand. And I kind of like that. I can read all those ingredients. So you might be able to either just pick up those ingredients and do the whole thing completely yourself. Okay. And the reason I'm smoothing this out, this is just me, but I'm smoothing this out because as it cooks, this is going to heat up and it's going to mix throughout everything else in here. And at some point during the cooking process, I'm going to come in here and it's still going to be like a pretty good layer of thick ooze. And I'm going to have to mix it anyway. So the more I can try to get this to soak into all the vegetables and the meat, the more flavor I can get. You can even, it's probably something that I should do, but you can even take the meat and put some seasoning on it or flavoring on it or mix some garlic on it, do it that way. So I don't, but you can. And I might do it some other time. Okay, this is garlic. I'm going to add 1 heaping thing of garlic because I like garlic. Garlic is healthy for you. And I think it makes a good flavor in this. And everyone just a little bit more in there. This is local garlic too. This is from Gilroy Spice Roll, so in Gilroy, California, which is like the garlic capital of at least America, but I'm sure they claim the world. But yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with garlic. This stuff you can go wrong with. I think this is one of the reasons my green curry didn't work right. Ginger. I'm only going to put about half of one of these in. And again, the reason is just because it's very powerful, very overpowering flavor. And I don't want to spoil this recipe. I just want to give it that ginger for 2 reasons. Ginger is healthy. And secondly, it does add a little bit of flavor.
Or it adds a pretty good flavor, as long as you don't use too much and just overpower it. Curry powder. This has a lot of just basic stuff in it too. I mean, it's what is it? You probably can't read it from there, but I'll read it out. Coriander, turmeric, mustard, cumin, fenugreek, probably pronouncing that wrong, paprika, cayenne, gardenia, nutmeg, cinnamon, and cloves. Cardamom, I'm sorry, cardamom, not gardenia, and cloves. So, I don't know if you can read it on there. If you can, pause screen and go ahead and whatever. But it's not bad. It's all organic ingredients too, so. So why do I use this and the Thai curry paste? Because I don't think, I've never made this curry with this stuff alone that came out where I liked it. So, sorry to say it to the manufacturers, but I think you have to mix a little bit. And so, you can see I'm measuring this very, very exactly. So the reason I just do a cover, you know, and I think that works out pretty good, is covering everything on it. I'll do the same thing with the sea salt, really, except not nearly as much. So I'm just using sea salt, Mediterranean sea salt. It doesn't have iodine in it, which, from what I understand, the iodine that salt has in it isn't exactly the iodine you need for your body anyway, but I guess it does help gators. I don't know. I'm not going to put, this is sea salt, so I'm not going to put too much on it, but I think that will be plenty. And especially since a couple of the other ingredients we have already have salt in them. And the last thing, just some grinder black pepper. Simple stuff. And that over the top. Again, we've added some other seasonings to this, so it's not like, you know, we have to add too much. But you add enough just to get a little flavor. And so that is actually everything that we're going to be adding right now. There's two more ingredients. There's the onions, and there's the kale, which is, you know, everything is optional, really. The onions, I think, add a lot of flavor. The kale is for nutrients, but I add those at the end, closer to the end of this, and I'll saute the onions. So we'll come back in about 7.5 hours and finish this up. Okay, so it's been about 7.5 hours, and I actually haven't stirred it yet, so you can see what this is going to look like here. You can see it's still pasty on the top. There's plenty of broth, and you can see, even though I only put half the broth in, this is still really, really liquidy. What's up, buddy? And Liam wants my phone really bad. So, but all this broth is really good because it's got the bone broth in it. It's also got all the veggie juice and everything that's come in. So, and you can see it's almost touching the top, which is kind of cool. So, what I'm going to put in now, I'm going to let it cook for another 30 minutes after, is I'm going to put in these onions. I sauteed them a while ago, actually, so they're nice and cold now. I'm going to put these on top, and this will end the cooking a little bit of flavor in here. And so we're going to have some sauteed onions. And like I said, that'll add the flavor. There's one more thing I'm going to add.
Alright, I don't see charge for that. I might buy it.
That is this kale. And all I did was I just chopped it up. Not even real fine. If you had a food processor, you could chop it up and make it look more like spice in there if you wanted to. I'm making sure that guy can... You can actually see what I'm doing. So, but I'm going to add that to the top too. And I'm going to stir all that in. And the kale, I don't add kale for flavor. Maybe some people do. I add kale for the nutrients and health because there's a lot of nutrition in it. And by putting it in this last half an hour, it'll wilt up just enough to, you know, to not overpower the flavor in it, but to make it nice and, well, healthy basically, but not make the kale too, you know, too much like eating like hard lettuce. So it'll soften it up nice. And if you look at that. Look at the lamb right there. Isn't that nice? It's falling off the bone, which is what you want. You know? Look at that tender. You see that? A tender piece of lamb steak. So, yeah, and you can see. So this is pretty much what it's going to look like by the time it's done. And I'm not even going to bother giving you a taste test because I can tell you this is going to taste good. If it tastes anything like the chicken, this will taste good.
Okay, well here's the finished product. This is actually, it's done. It's been in the fridge for a couple days now. So you see how kind of thick it's gotten. And it's absolutely delicious. I've had 2 bowls now. And the lamb works really good, even with the chicken bone broth. It's great. I recommend this again with chicken. You can do it with lamb. I'm sure you could do it with beef. I mean, any meat or veggie. I've done this recipe before with just veg, and I think I put some broccoli in it. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope you enjoy the curry.